What up, YouTube? Team Movies here. Now, the 2010s had some pretty interesting documentaries that got released of the decade, and I do like me a good documentary. Mainly, it's about if it's like a subject matter that interests me, But the 2010s had some really solid documentaries that got released. So, with that being said, here's my 10 favorite documentary films of the 2010s. All right, coming in at number 10, I'm going to go with Alright, I'm going to add Kurt Cobain, Montage of Heck. Now, this is a documentary about the lead singer and guitarist and songwriter of Nirvana, and it also and this film, of course, got released during the 20-year anniversary of Kurt Cobain's death, and we take and it ends up taking a journey through Cobain's life and career, as well as recordings, artworks, and all. This is a really great documentary. Like you see, never before seen footage of the real Kurt Cobain and all. And Kurt Cobain was an iconic music artist. Come on, he was the lead singer of Nirvana after all. And man, tragically he passed away way too soon. I think he died at the age of 27. So he was pretty much in the 27 club. But man, Kurt. This was a really great one. I actually saw the movie on HBO, and it's really solid. If you guys haven't really seen the Kurt Cobain montage of Heck, it's a really good one. All right, coming in at number 9, I'm going to add Life Animated. Now, this is a story of Owen Suskind, who's this young man who was unable to speak as a child until he and his family ends up discovering a unique way to communicate by immersing themselves in the world of classic Disney and all, Disney anime films. And this is a emotional coming of age story that follows Owen as he graduates to adulthood and takes his first step, and he becomes really fascinated with animation and all. And it's a really solid documentary. I mean, I didn't really know much about the story before I saw this documentary, but man, this kid really got really into anime and stuff. He drew pretty well, and shows that just because something just because you got a problem, just because you can't be able to speak or anything like that, doesn't stop you from doing what you enjoy and all. And man, you're probably gonna need some tissues while you watch a live animated. It's a really amazing one. Alright, coming in at number 8, I'm gonna add Being Elmo. Now, this is actually a documentary about the guy who does the puppeteer for Elmo. And Being Elmo is a really terrific one. They also have a few other Sesame Street based documentaries, but man, Being Elmo, featuring Kevin Clash, who was the the puppeteer for Elmo. This also features interviews with other folks like Frank Oz, Rosie O'Donnell, Cheryl Henson, and it was narrated by Whoopi Goldberg. And it offers behind the scenes look of Sesame Street and the Jim Henson Workshop and all. And this is a really solid documentary. Really show Kevin Clash really did a great job at doing the Elmo stuff. And there was interviews with him as well. Really fantastic doc. If you guys haven't really seen Being Elmo yet, and if you're always curious to see about how Kevin Clash does the whole Elmo impersonating stuff, and definitely go give that one a shot. Coming in at number 7, I'm going to add Life Itself. Now, Life Itself is executive produced by Martin Scorsese, directed by Hoop Dreams director Steve James, and it's a documentary about famed film critic Roger Ebert. And I love Roger Ebert. He's pretty much the reason why I pretty much do what I do here. Roger Ebert was the man. Even there are some films that I never agree with him on, and I still always. I was always a fan of Roger Ebert. I actually did so. Obviously, his whole Sisko and Ebert was way ahead of my time. but I actually did I have actually seen clips of Siskel and Ebert before, and man, Roger Ebert was arguably one of the greatest critics of all time. And this documentary really showed really goes from his life as a film critic to and it's also based on this memoir of the same name as well. And it also features an interview by his wife, and it's a really fantastic one. If you guys haven't really seen Life Itself, go check it out. And they really need to do a biopic about Roger Ebert. I mean, I think a biopic should really be interesting to watch. All right, coming in at number 6, it is the Oscar-winning documentary film Amy. Now, this movie is a documentary about famed singer Amy Winehouse, and it featured footage of the real Amy Winehouse. And now, believe it or not, this was actually the first documentary film that I saw in theaters that actually won an Oscar. So that's pretty cool there. But this documentary will actually make you become a fan of Amy Winehouse. You're gonna need some tissues while you're watching this. And I've always liked Amy Winehouse. I mean, of course, her song "Rehab" is one of the most iconic songs there is. And Amy Winehouse is just remarkable. Or I should say was remarkable. Tragically, she passed away at a very young age and gone way too soon. And this documentary is really great. If you guys haven't really seen the Amy yet, go check that one out. Alright, coming in at number 5, I'm going to add I Am Chris Farley. Now, Spike TV, or now it's the Paramount Network, but still, they've been pretty big with these I Am documentaries. Like last year we had I Am Patrick Swayze. They also had I Am Bruce Lee. They also had I Am Richard Pryor. They're pretty big with these I Am documentaries. But my favorite one of them has got to be I Am Chris Farley. This documentary will make you become a fan of Chris Farley even more. And this really went in on depth on who Chris Farley was, and it had lots of interviews with lots of his close friends and castmates like Lorne Michaels, Jay Moore, Mike Myers, Adam Sandler, Bob Saget, David Spade, John Lovitz, Bob Odenkirk, Molly Shannon. I mean, the list goes on and on. Lots of really cool interviews with lots of celebrities that knew Chris Farley well. And you're gonna need some tissues while you're watching this. But man, this movie literally made me miss Chris Farley. And Chris Farley was just one of the most iconic, comedy SNL cast members. Like he could do comedy very well. He did some really good stuff like Tommy Boy, Black Sheep, Billy Madison. Yeah, they really showcased on his film career, his SNL career, and really fantastic documentary. So if you guys haven't seen I Am Chris Farley yet, it's a really good one. Alright, coming in at number 4 is another film about one of the best comedians of all time, and that is Robin Williams' Come Inside My Mind. Now this is of course a documentary about one of the greatest comics of all time, Robin Williams. I mean, you're also going to need tissues while you're watching this. It showed interesting footage of Robin Williams doing stand-up, showed footage of him in lots of his iconic films like Mrs. Doubtfire and Hook and all, and interviews with lots of celebrity friends like his Mark and Mindy co-star Pam Dauber and loads of other. I mean, this is also an HBO documentary, and it's a really fantastic one. If you guys haven't seen Robin Williams' Come Inside My Mind yet, go check it out. This movie will also make you become more of a fan of Robin Williams. Alright, coming in at number 3, I'm going to add Catfish. Now, granted, we already know that there isn't a TV show called Catfish. But, before the TV show came about, I believe the Catfish documentary came out in 2011 or 2010. And it's from directors Ariel Shulman and Henry Jews, who also gave us some of the Paranormal Activity movies, Nerve and all. And it really unfolds as they begin to film the life of Ariel's brother Neve Shulman, who, if you guys don't know, is the host of the TV show Catfish. And it's where Neve ended up meeting this girl he met online, but not really it turns out that she might actually not be who she says she is. So it's a really interesting documentary and shows how careful you need to be on the computer and all, and who you should definitely you gotta be careful who you meet online. And the TV show, well, the TV show is pretty decent, which is hosted by Neve Showman, and it was hosted by Max Joseph, but looks like he ended up not hosting anymore. So anyway, yeah, the Catfish documentary is fantastic to watch. It is produced by MTV, which makes sense because MTV does have the TV show Catfish. But yeah, it's pretty cool to just see that Neve Showman, because of what he went through. This time, he decided to be on the TV show to help other people go through, being catfish and all. But yeah, this documentary is really fantastic to watch. So if you guys haven't really seen the documentary of Catfish, go check it out. Especially if you're a fan of the the MTV Catfish show, I think you'll enjoy the documentary that's based on. All right, coming in at number 2, this is actually a recent one that I literally just saw, and that is After Parkland. This is a really fantastic documentary. Now, if you guys don't know, After Parkland is a documentary featuring survivors of the high school Parkland massacre at the Stoneman Douglas High back in last year, and this is really a documentary that I probably just only could watch once. I really don't know if I could watch it again because it's a really hard documentary to watch. It's great, don't get me wrong, it's a great documentary, but it's still a bit of a hard to watch. I mean, a documentary about a school shooting, is just really very tragic, and this of course has a lot of interviews with the survivors uh, the family members of the kids who ended up getting killed at the school. And I've of course did my review for After Parkland not so long ago, and it's really fantastic to watch. So if you guys haven't really seen After Parkland, definitely go check that one out. Alright, my number 1 favorite documentary of the decade goes to Won't You Be My Neighbor. Now, one of my favorite movies of this year is Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, and one of my favorite films of last year was Won't You Be My Neighbor. And of course, Won't You Be My Neighbor is based on the life of children's personality, Mr. Rogers. It is one of the best documentaries of last year. How on earth did this not win or even got nominated for the Oscar for Best Documentary is still beyond me. But it's really fun. It's really actually rare when a documentary ends up in my top 10 favorite of the year list. Lots of films in my favorite of the year list are barely documentaries, so this is probably the first documentary to be actually added in one of my top tiers of the year. But it's really wonderful. Although that Michael Jackson documentary, This Is Us, is actually my top 10 favorite movies of 2009, so. Anyway, yeah, Won't You Be My Neighbor is a really fantastic doc. Features lots of interviews with Mr. Rogers' wife, Yo-Yo Ma, that officer who was on Mr. Rogers. I can't remember the actual officer's name, but of course, yeah. I mean, this documentary will make you become this documentary will make you feel much better about life. This is a documentary we really needed, and it's amazing. And if you guys haven't really seen Won't You Be My Neighbor yet, to me is the best documentary of the decade. So definitely go check out Won't You Be My Neighbor if you guys haven't seen that. Alright, that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. Alright, 10, Kurt Cobain Montage of Heck. 9, Life Animated. 8, Being Elmo. 7, Life Itself. 6, Amy. 5, I Am Chris Farley. 4, Robin Williams Come Inside My Mind. 3, Catfish. 2, After Parkland. And 1, Won't You Be My Neighbor. Now, there's also some other documentaries that was pretty decent as well. Let's see. Execute the Gift Shop, Citizen 4, Minding the Gap, The Act of Killing, Blackfish, 20 Feet of Stardom, which is from the same director of Won't You Be My Neighbor. Poop Talk, that's really a documentary that was actually pretty funny. Free Solo, Inside Job, The Invisible War, Leaving Neverland, if you want to add that in your list. Let's see, The 13th, What Happened to Miss Simone, Three Identical Strangers, Listen to Me Marlon, which is a documentary about Marlon Brando, Casting John Bonet, some really good ones. Let me leave to you guys. What are some of your favorite documentaries of the 2010s? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here is T Movies signing off.